What is up, everybody? Richard here with CRG Games, and I've got another commander deck for you. So this is my buddy's deck. This is Vrondiss, Rage of the Ancients. This is a commander precon deck. It's actually really strong. So the price point of this deck is running about $300 with several changes throughout, including creatures, spells, and lands. So let's take a look. All right, before I begin, I'd like to say that if you'd like to support the channel, you can do that by subscribing, liking the video, commenting, or even better, bookmarking my Amazon link. That way, if you are making a purchase, a small bit comes back to the channel, and I can put that back in to help grow. So let's get into the deck here. Starting out with Vrondiss, what he does is whenever it is dealt damage, you may create a 5/4 red and green dragon spirit creature token. And that creature token, when it deals damage, you must sacrifice it. Whenever you roll one or more dice, you may have Vrondiss deal 1 damage to himself. So there is going to be a dice rolling aspect to this deck. We'll start out with some spells. We've got a Beast Within, Clouth's Will. That's very nice because you can choose both if you control Vrondiss. Breath Weapon. And Vrondiss is a dragon, so that doesn't actually affect him, but this is more for clearing your opponent's board. Kindred Summons, probably going to be selecting dragon in this case. Spit Flame, you can deal 4 damage to target creature. Magma Quake. As you can see, there's a lot of things to deal damage because it's not necessarily a bad thing to ping Vrondiss every once in a while. Return to Nature is going to be for removal. Return of the Wild Speaker's got multiple effects there. Starstorm can deal multiple damage. And you've got Explore because there is there's a ramp aspect in this deck as well. We're on to sorceries now. Rampant Growth, Cultivate, 3 visits. A lot of the dragons are expensive to play, and Vrondiss himself is 5, which isn't too bad. So a lot of ramp actually helps you a good bit in this deck. You got Blasphemous Act. It's always a great removal spell. Chain Reaction. X damage to each creature, where X is the number of creatures on the battlefield. That is a very good board wipe as well. We got Rishkar's Expertise. Vrondiss has a way of getting really big, so this is going to help you to draw a bunch of cards. Shamanic Revelation and Traverse the Outlands. Again, this is another ramp card, and I've seen him actually use this and fill his hand basically with lands. I'm sorry, they go directly on the battlefield. Yeah, that's a pretty rough one to be on the opposite side of the table. We got Long Rest, Overwhelming Stampede. Once you build up a lot of tokens, Overwhelming Stampede is going to make sure that when you do swing out before you have to sacrifice them, you're going to get damage through. Next, we've got some artifacts. We've got Jade Orb of Dragonkind, Orb of Dragonkind. We got Wand of Wonder for rolling dice. Fiend Lash will give a creature reach. Then you've got Soul Ring. This is the retro promo, the WPN promo. Arcane Signet, Bag of Tricks, which will allow you to roll a d8. You got Commander Sphere, Component Pouch, again for rolling dice. Sword of Hours. This one also allows you to roll a dice. And then you got Dragon's Horde and Elixir of Immortality here. I think we got a couple more. Monster Manual. I really like this card. It's only around $2 right now, but I have to suspect that in the future, Monster Manual has got to be at least a $5 to $6 card at a minimum. So right now, it's still relatively cheap. But it allows you to put a creature card from your hand onto the battlefield with the second effect here. Then we've got Carnelian Orb. Next, we've got some enchantments. Sunbird's Invocation, Barbarian Class, and Druid Class. Got Lurking Predators. Lurking Predators is a freaking great card. I don't think a lot of people really know how powerful this card can be. Whenever an opponent casts a spell, you reveal the top card of your library. If it's a creature, you can put it onto the battlefield. Otherwise, you may put that card on the bottom of your library. So I've seen him use this card. I might actually consider taking it out because the number of creatures in this deck isn't like extremely high. This is something that I would maybe consider running in my Animar deck because I have 30 plus creatures in that deck. So there's a very high chance that I'm going to get one. Next, we've got Maddening Hex. This card is actually running around the $10 to $15 range, I believe. Whenever you would chant the player, whenever the chanted player casts a non-creature spell, you roll a d6. So that's going to trigger Vrondiss. Maddening Hex deals damage to that player equal to the result. Then attach Maddening Hex to another one of your opponent's chosen at random. So this is definitely a strong enchantment curse. Highly recommend picking one of those up. We got Sarkhan Vol. Nice little 4-drop Planeswalker. This is from Shards of Alara. I believe Shards of Alara was actually the first block to have Planeswalkers. If that's wrong, just let me know in the comments, but I was pretty sure Shards was the first. And then we got some creatures here. We've got Apex Devastator. You gotta love the Cascade. And with Lurking Predators, you can put them out. Although it has to still be a cast. So you wouldn't get the cast trigger, but you'd get to put them out on the field. We got Backdraft Hellkite. That is a Double Masters 2022 foil. Goblin Anarchomancer. This helps to lower the cost of green or red spells, and since this is Gruul, that's going to be basically everything you play. We got Wrathful Red. Dragonborn Champion. Definitely a strong Dragon Warrior here. Torian Mauler, which does count as a dragon because it has Changeling. And I've seen Torian Mauler get absolutely massive. This is a very easy creature to get a ton of counters on. We got Ancient Copper. Skyline Despot. Give the old Monarch there. Yeah, Ancient Bronze Dragon. It's borderless, non-foil. I'm sorry, yeah, it is borderless, yep. Karlach, Fury of Avernus. Then we got Hellkite Courser. This one is just dumb. Being able to put your commander onto the battlefield and giving it haste is definitely strong. My other buddy, he's got a Ur-Dragon deck, and he played Hellkite Courser, and then Ur-Dragon came out, and it did all kinds of shenanigans. That's definitely a rough one. We got Atarka, Worldrender, Thrakkus the Butcher from Baldur's Gate, Tyrant's Familiar, that is Commander 2017, and then we got the foil Klauth, Unrivaled Ancient. So this card in borderless, I think, is going for around $43. This version, I want to say, is around $14 to $15. Klauth is definitely a strong dragon. All right, we got some more dragons here. Chaos Dragon, Earthquake Dragon. This is one that I like to run with Sneak Attack because being able to put it out and then swing for 10 is very nice. We got Hellkite Tyrant, Terror of Mount Velis, and Anger. Anger's always a great card, right? As long as it's in your graveyard and you control a mountain, creatures you control have haste. So if you had this in turn 1, right, you could just choose not to play a land, discard this, and then all your creatures are going to have haste as long as you play a mountain. You got Savage Ventmaw. This one definitely hurts because that mana does not clear out from your mana pool. Dragonlord's Servant. Dragon spells you cast cost 1 less to cast. There are a ton of cards in the AFR Dragon deck that are just absolute staples in Dragon decks. Dragon Speaker Shaman, for another example there. That is all of our creatures. And then next we've got lands. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 mountains. And for forests, I believe we've got 9. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yep, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 forests. And then for non-basic lands, so Temple the Dragon Queen. A lot of these cards are going to be from like AFR, AFR Commander, Baldur's Gate. These 3 sets, 2 sets, are actually really, really good for dragon stuff. So we got Temple the Dragon Queen. This is the dungeon module. Path of Ancestry. We got Cinderglade, Cliff Gate, and Manor Gate. These 2 I would probably consider taking out for maybe a fetch land, but they're not the worst. They're not the worst lands. Lair of the Hydra, that is also a dungeon module. We got Exotic Orchard, Underdark Rift, which is going to give you dice rolls. We got Gruul Turf. It's a bounce land. Mosswort Bridge, Mossfire Valley. That's a filter land. Game Trail. Game Trail, I believe, is a check land. You reveal a mountain or forest card from your hand. If you don't, it enters tap, so you have to check whether you have a mountain or forest in your hand, and then you get to reveal that. I believe that's called a check land. Spire Garden, these are, you know, like the original, those Battle Bond lands, and then they were printed again here in Baldur's Gate. We got Rockfall Vale, Command Tower, Cavern of Souls, obviously that's going to be for dragons. We got Sokanzan, Crucible of Fire. I love these channel lands. You can discard Crucible Defiance, create 2/1/1 colorless spirit creature tokens. They gain haste until end of turn, and it costs 1 less to activate for each legendary creature you control. So if you need to get, you know, 2 little blockers out or something like that, you can do that pretty easily with the channel lands. Then you got Crucible of the Spirit Dragon and Haven of the Spirit Dragon, both to support dragons. And these are actually both included in the Forgotten Realms Commander deck. So that has been the Vrondiss Rage of the Ancients Commander deck with some changes to it. It is, again, still mostly based on the Precon, which by itself is relatively strong. And if you're building something on a budget, this is definitely a great way to go if you want to go dragons and you don't have, you know, like $1,000, $2,000 to spend. You can do it more on a budget for around the $300 mark. Now, the AFR Precon deck has been rising in price. I want to say it's around the $50 or $60 mark, which is still a deal. I would recommend getting those before they become, you know, obscenely expensive. Vrondiss is a great alternative if you don't want to, you know, build things like Miram Sentinel Worm, or you don't want to build the Ur-Dragon, or don't have the money to do so. Vrondiss is a great pickup. Highly recommend building this deck. And if you'd like to leave feedback, go ahead and do that in the comments. This would be great for my buddy. That way he can get more feedback on things to change out, because he's a newer player, right? So he started playing in Crimson Vow. So for him, not having, you know, a lot of experience and years of experience building decks, I think this deck performs really well. And we've helped him out here and there, you know, with different things. Part of it becomes how big is your collection, though, right? Otherwise, you'll have to go out and, like, you know, buy all the cards and things like that. And most of these cards are cards that he's pulled. So I think he's done very well with this deck. Again, if you'd like to leave feedback, do that in the comments. If you like this video, throw a like on it. If you're not subscribed and you would like to, go ahead and do that. It helps me out a ton. And if you'd like to support the channel, go ahead and bookmark my Amazon link. That helps out a ton. Until next time, I'll catch you guys later.